Hey divas, welcome back to Closure with Jazzy. I instead of a chai tea, I have matcha. And that is so crazy of me to say because this is actually my first ever time trying matcha. I was just curious. I've been curious, that's the thing. Like I've always been intrigued by matcha, but a lot of people I've seen like they say, "Oh, it tastes like grass and it's disgusting and just like gross." And but then I see like people getting their matcha from like Starbucks and like other places and like it looks cool, it looks fun. But I keep thinking about the people that are like, "Oh, it tastes disgusting." And it's just like you're drinking grass. So I never like actually took it upon myself to like actually try it. I mean, I've been close a couple times, like some coffee shops, especially Starbucks. I'll see it and they have like the ones with like strawberry cold foam and like all kinds of things like that. But then I'm like, well, what if I hate it? And then I just wasted like $7 to $8 on a little matcha drink that yeah. So and the way I do my chais too, like I make them myself. So from the grocery store, I'll get like the chai tea and then I get like white chocolate mocha sauce. And because I can't drink dairy, I get lactate and if there's no lactate, I'll get soy milk. And I do that every day. But so the brand that I get for my chai tea, it's the Tazo. I don't know what the correct pronunciation is for it, but it's Tazo. And I heard that's the exact brand that Starbucks actually uses for their tea, so I mean it tastes pretty similar in my opinion. And they have like a range of different flavors you can get. I think there's like there's the regular classic chai tea latte and then you have skinny chai and then there's like pumpkin chai. There's the matcha and then there's a matcha strawberry. Um and then there's a decaf, I'm pretty sure. Um and I'm always getting the classic, of course. But when fall, like for fall, I was getting the pumpkin chai latte, and that was pretty good. Um, but they had the matcha, and I would always eye it every time I'd get my classic chai. And I caved in yesterday during my grocery shop, and like if I end up hating it, then that's fine. Like at least I spent $7 on a like decent size of like I can make like 3 or 4 chais out of it instead of spending that same amount on one singular drink from like Starbucks. So that's what I did and I tried it. So I obviously poured it in this cup and then I added my lactate milk and then because I add the white chocolate in my regular chais, I was like, maybe it will go well with matcha. I actually have no idea. But I did it. I did it the exact same way that I make my chais. And I tasted it and I'm not even kidding. I was expecting to like gag or something, like I'm going to hate it. Uh why do I actually fuck with it? Like why do I actually love it? Like I thought I was going to be disgusted. I thought I was going to hate it. So I wasn't expecting like to like it, but I really like it. I'm like and I been missing out this whole time. Like that's actually crazy. So instead of a chai, I have my little matcha latte today. It feels so weird saying that. I feel like every other basic girl like I'm getting my matcha today, and I'm not trying to make fun of because I too am also a white basic bitch. Um, try not to be, but anyway, so today, it's just kind of I'm didn't really like plan a specific topic for this episode. It's kind of gonna be all over the place and like a bunch of mixed things. Um, I do have an like because I remember last week's episode I was ranting about healthcare. And I have some updates on that I want to talk about, and I want to get started with the whole relationship side of things. So I want to start talking about each and every relationship I've been in, um, and then just kind of go from there. So that's kind of the aim for today. But yeah, so last week I ranted about healthcare and everything that I've ever experienced and I'm currently experiencing. And I last week was definitely something, but a lot happened ever since then, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So I think the last place that I left at, I think I was talking. I remember correctly. I was talking about like my gastroenterologist and the dentist, and just having to do like my own research and shit like that. And well, okay, so ever since then, same thing. Yesterday I had called my gastroenterologist, my dentist, orthodontist, all of it. And basically, so let's start with the gastroenterologist. So I call my gastroenterologist because, again, I'm needing an update. Last thing that was discussed was me basically telling them, like, hey, by the way, there is a generic for Motegrity. It's called this. They're both actually covered under my insurance under tier 3. So, like, you guys need to either appeal the denial or provide more information because, I mean, clearly, if it's getting denied, you're just not, like, doing, I don't know. Anyways, so I call the gastroenterologist. Of course, they don't pick up. Of course, left a voicemail, and then I got a call back like an hour later, and it wasn't from anyone on my care team. It was actually from the scheduler. So I found that a bit odd. Um and so basically, she's like, "Hey, like I'm returning your call." And the care team, they talked to the doctor, my gastroenterologist. I don't want to like say his name for just in case. And they said this, and that, which was, basically the conversation that we had, like me telling her that Motegrity and the generic is covered under tier 3 and blah, blah, blah. And she was telling me that the doctor had said that there is no generic for Motegrity. And I like kind of cut her off mid sentence because I was like, wait. What? What do you mean there's no generic? I'm sorry. Google is one search away. Um, but also, I'm literally telling you, I may not be the provider or God knows like a doctor or anything. But it's not hard to just like click on Google or Safari or whatever you use and search up what is the generic for Motegrity. It's a thing. It actually does exist, babe. What do you mean? And she's like, "Oh, well, I guess she didn't write that down in the notes." You think? You think? What? Like, and I told her, I'm telling the scheduler, I'm like, "Yeah, so there actually is a generic, and as I told the girl that I spoke to last week, it's called, oh, I always forget. It's like prucalopride, something like that." And both that, the generic, and Motegrity is covered under my insurance. Um, she's like, "Oh, okay, well, I guess she just didn't write that part down and didn't end up telling the doctor, so that's why he said that, I guess. And they were supposed to update you, but I guess they never did." Mm, wow, are we shocked? Like, why? If you could like look at the call logs and see how many times that I call, because well, I don't get updated. That's why I have to call weekly to ask for a update. And so yeah, so I'm like basically retelling her everything I just talked about last week. And she was actually super nice about everything in the end, and like, she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna actually write this down, and I'll get all of this information sent over to the care team, um, and the doctor himself, to make sure that they actually do listen and take you seriously. I think there's just a lot of miscommunication going on. Oh, oh, you don't say. And yeah, so I found that pretty crazy. And girl, why are we're not giving baths. Anyways, so that was the gastroenterologist. Um, and as far as I'm aware, I'm supposed to be getting an update soon, but I hear that like weekly at this point. So I think at this point, like, if they don't help me, or they continue to not take me seriously and like help me, because like this is urgent shit. Like, I'm like genuinely suffering every single day, not taking anything for the IBS, and it's like driving me insane. Um, I'm probably gonna try and find a new gastroenterologist because this is just getting ridiculous, and it's like genuinely pissing me off. And it's unfortunate that it's the way that it is now, and I feel like it's gotten worse over the years, but what can you do? Okay, and then with so it's funny because today I was actually supposed to be getting braces on. That got rescheduled for the 30th of this month, which is also no longer happening because here's the thing. So, with that, last week, um, my dentist had basically told me, and I'm so sorry if I'm repeating myself, but last week my dentist told me that I needed two root canals and a crown, um before getting the braces on, and like absolutely mandatory, can't get braces on until those are done. So I'm like, okay. And he referred me to a endodontist in Tri-Cities, which is like 2 hours, I think, 2 hours away. But here's the thing, from where I live to Tri-Cities, Washington, you have to go over this pass. And it's a very scary, dangerous pass to go over, especially in the wintertime. And it's already been snowing and raining and freezing cold, for a couple weeks now. And there's already been crashes in that pass. So it's like, the last thing I want to do is take a trip over the pass just to get two root canals done. So after that appointment, I obviously update my orthodontist because when don't think it's all going to get done on time before the 30th, and I really don't want to have to reschedule again. Um and she told me to call a different dentist in my town and ask for a second opinion. So that's what I did. I made an appointment with a different dentist here. Um, they were like, yeah, we can do like a quick exam for you, like a 30-minute exam, and we can get you in Monday, which was yesterday. And so Monday comes. This was all yesterday, and I go in, and they do like the X-ray thing and all of that, and then the dentist comes in shortly after, and he's like explaining everything to me, but also like, so he has like the X-ray up in front of me, and then he's like explaining everything. I'm pointing everything out, so like obviously I know he's being real with me, like he's telling the truth, of course, like he's literally showing me everything. And I found out a lot that I never knew. So that's actually insane. And it ended up being like an hour and a half appointment because of how much we found out and like all the information and everything. And God forbid, I am horrible at memorizing a lot of information at once. So I don't remember everything we ever talked about. I'm sure they took notes, and I'm sure I'll be able to get my hands on that. But from what I remember, so he told me that two root canals definitely not necessary. I only need one root canal. But he was like it's not even really necessary to get one. The tooth, it's like it's not dead. I don't have any dead teeth. But the tooth, it's like it could get there like eventually, like it's leaning towards that, but as of right now I don't need it. So he's like I would just get one anyway so that you don't have to worry about it later. So that's kind of that one explained. So I do need one, not two though. And he was like looking at, you know, the x-ray and everything up close and he's like, "Oh, oh, this is interesting." And he which was pretty scary for me because I'm like, "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Um he found out that I actually have a couple cavities, new cavities. Well, I don't know about new. I don't know how long they've been there for because my actual dentist, I guess, because I've had all my fillings. You know, I don't have the best teeth, and I think that's like a genetic thing, but also I'm sure everybody's heard of like the stereotype that British people have horrible teeth, and I can confirm that is true. I have horrible teeth, and I think it's literally just because of like the British genetics of everything. I don't know. But I've had a lot of fillings, a lot of cavities, a lot of fillings, a lot of dental work. Um, but as far as I was aware, that was all completed a while ago because I've consistently been going to my dentist and getting a bunch of fillings. And I remember my last appointment, it was my final filling because we had done all the fillings for all the cavities that there were. So I knew that I didn't have any, you know, active cavities that weren't already didn't already have fillings. So I thought I was done with that. But no, I guess I have a few more that need fillings. So there's that as well. And then he was talking about like my overbite. I have like 100% overbite. So and this actually makes so much sense. My like bottom row of my teeth used to be straight, but because of my overbite and I also don't have any molars up in my top right because I got them pulled at a very young age. I don't even know why. Now that I think about it, that is odd. Anyways, so yeah, that happened. And so I don't have any molars. So basically, what he was explaining to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is just from what I remember. I could be saying this wrong too. But because I don't have any molars, I have a tooth on the bottom right here that kind of like goes inwards. Like it's slanted and it goes in, like pointing my tongue when it should be obviously up straight. And that's because having no molars up here, my like canine tooth, it's like been like when I bite down, it's been like hella pressing against that tooth that's now slanted, which makes a lot of sense. And then like my enamel on like my bottom front teeth are kind of very weak because of every time I bite down, of course, my overbite, my top teeth are like digging into and scraping constantly against those. So now, like, my enamel is like basically shit. But also, I found out that I have a wisdom tooth. How on God's, like, how on earth? How on earth did my dentist not know that? Did not see that? And it's clear in the picture. I dead ass. I have a wisdom tooth right here. It's the only wisdom tooth I have, and I've never had a wisdom tooth until now. And it's like fully grown too. Like it's ready to come out. And I'm just like, what? Oh, I mean, I guess I am thankful and blessed that I've had no pain because I feel like that's like an on and off thing for everybody. Like with wisdom teeth, you either get like a bunch of pain, you know it's there, or you don't get any pain at all. And I guess I'm one of the few people or many people who haven't gotten any pain because I would have never known. I would have never known. So now there's that too. And because of this wisdom tooth and it's already so slanted and pressing against the tooth right next to it, I now have to get that tooth and the wisdom tooth taken out. Oh, and I guess I need a fake tooth, which obviously isn't covered by insurance at all, and that's just something I would have to like completely pay out of pocket for, which is probably never gonna happen because teeth are expensive. Like way too expensive. But he said that I technically need a tooth up there to keep all my other teeth like intact. So that's great. So basically what I learned yesterday is I have to reschedule my races again, which at this point I basically just canceled it even though I've already started paying for it. Um and just like give them a call when all that work is done because again, this is something I have to get done before getting the braces on. So, it's probably not going to be until next year now at this point, which is so frustrating because I've been mentally preparing for this for a while now and I've requested time off work like two separate times now. And that's annoying too. And I feel bad for my boss because like I don't want to piss him off. Obviously, like, oh, we need to move it again. Oh, we need to move it again. Oh, just kidding. Move it again. I can't do that. And so they gave me the option. They're like, I mean, you could still go to the endodontist if you really wanted to, or we could do it for you here for cheaper. So I don't know how much cheaper is to them, but they're doing my root canal Thursday. So in 2 days I'm getting this root canal. And yes, I would get a crown with it, but they told me that that's like something I can get later on. It doesn't have to be like as soon as like right with the root canal. So that I guess that's nice. Um so yes, Thursday I will be getting the root canal done through them. But also another thing that was super funny to me too is like when I called the dentist on Monday, right before all of this happened, just to ask for like an update of the referral to the endodontist, she's like, um, it was never referred. I was, what do you mean? What do you mean? Like, do not piss me off right now. Because, mind you, I had spent the entire day yesterday calling so many different providers. I spent the entire day on the phone, basically. And everyone was being, as per usual, so very frustrating and just not helpful. And she's telling me that it never got referred. And I'm like, oh, that's weird because I called last week and was told that the referral was sent out and that they would update me when it gets approved and when it goes through. Well, I don't know who told you that, but it was never sent out. Oh, okay, thanks. What do you mean? Oh my god. But while I'm at this other dentist, he's like looking at the notes that they send each other over and whatnot, and I gave him the spiel and everything too, and he's like, "Well, I'm reading through the notes right now, and it does say in the notes that the referral was sent out." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Oh my god, so I'm not crazy. Okay." Super super annoying. I don't know what's going on with healthcare right now and like the lying and miscommunication, but it's like been getting really bad, and it's like genuinely been. I've been crashing out like every day. It's bad, and so, all in all, I don't want to like drag this out, but basically what ended up happening is I know I've already said this like 3 times now, but yeah, I'm getting the root canal Thursday through them. And then I have to schedule a bunch of appointments with my actual dentist and get all those cavities that he apparently never saw or never knew about, get all those filled. And then I also need to get my wisdom tooth taken out along with the tooth right next to it, all before I can get the braces on. So yeah, it's looking like braces won't be until next year sometime. And it's just like, wow, way to add more things to everything going wrong this year. Like, this whole year has just been absolute shit. From relationships to, healthcare and just luck. I've been getting nothing but bad luck, bad juju, something. I don't know if somebody like hired a witch off Etsy and like put a curse on me or something, but or like is it Mercury in retrograde or whatever the fuck? Like I don't get it. I don't know what's going on, but I'm going insane. And I cannot wait for this year to be over. It's so close. It's so close. But all in all, I guess I'm very happy, ironically, that now I get to work on the holidays for the holiday pay. So that's great, I guess. Uh and Christmas is just around the corner. I think isn't Christmas like 2 weeks away? I don't even know. I don't have a phone on me or anything to check the dates, so um soon it will be Christmas and I haven't even started getting gifts, so that's wonderful. And I have a work party on the 15th and we're doing like a secret Santa thing and I still haven't even gotten the gift for the person that I am doing the secret Santa with. So I need to get to that actually. But yeah, so that's kind of like the whole update on the healthcare situation. Obviously it's still shit. Okay. Um Beautiful. So okay, getting into the whole relationship stuff. I kind of want to start from the beginning. Um and I've only been in 4 relationships my entire life. Granted, I've had situationships, of course. I think everybody's been in a situationship. But as for like real actual like will you be my girlfriend relationships, I've only been in 4. Technically 5, but I don't count the very first one because I was super young and it was like a middle school thing and it lasted maybe 2 days. So I'm saying 4. 4 relationships. And I want to start from the first one, which Ugh, oh my god, it's gonna bring me back in like times I don't want to go back to. And that's the thing about talking about the relationships and all is I'm gonna have to like take a trip back into like that time and tap into the like where I was in that time and like who I was as a person. And it may or may not be traumatizing, but we're gonna do it. It's gonna be fun. um so first relationship was actually with a white man, which if you know me, that's not my type at all. And maybe it was the reason it stopped being my type, I guess, in a sense. I never really had a type back then. It was just kind of like anyone. Like if you're cute and you have a good personality and you can make me laugh, like I love you. But now I'm very strict on types. And so this man, god, I don't even know where to begin. There was a phase, it was like 2021 to 2022 or something like that. It was a few years ago. And there was a phase where me and a couple friends we would drive up to this place in Oregon. It was like I want to say like an hour and a half away, maybe just well, it depends how fast you were going. You could be speeding, you could get there in like a little over an hour, but you go regular speed, it's like an hour and a half. But and there was this guy and he had like a bunch of friends who they basically threw parties for a living. And I don't really want to say the name of what it was because I don't know. I'm just trying to be as cautious as I can with storytelling. But there was this group, and they were known for throwing huge parties. They had like property um, where they would do that, and they would promote it, and do all that stuff. And so we would drive down there like every weekend. Um, and they would always have themes. Like, I will admit, they were fun. I really enjoyed going to these parties, and now, being 23, I'm not much of a party person anymore, like I used to be in like high school, and especially back then. So you would never see me doing that anymore. But back then I was very much a party girl. And I don't think I was 21 yet, but it was definitely in my party era, the most I've ever been. And um I mean, that kind of started in high school, and it lasted up until like 2022, 23 maybe. But it slowly like decreased over the years. Like, I didn't just like cold turkey stop drinking, but it eventually died down. And um basically, so we would go to these parties, we would drive the hour and a half, and I met this one guy. He was a part of the group. um we met, I don't even, oh, it was at a bonfire. So they did parties and bonfires. And I had gone to a couple of the parties already, and then one weekend there was a bonfire. So go to this bonfire with my friends, and one of my friends, she's been my best friend since, man, I don't even know, a very long time. We lived together at some point. We were always, she's like a sister to me, and she doesn't live here anymore. She like moved away, so we don't really talk. Kiki, can you not? Jeez. Um, we don't talk as much as we used to, but that's because we both have busy lives now, and she's far away, and you know. But love her to death. Love you, girl. You know who you are. Um, and she was dating another guy that was a part of the friend group. And so he had a friend that was, well, from what we knew at the time, was single. And so we met at this bonfire, and my friend's boyfriend at the time had introduced me to this guy. We hit it off, whatever. Um, and then we kind of became a thing. And it was like a very bad timing for everything, honestly. Like, the era in life that I was in, and I guess he was in, and like the party aspect of everything, the party life, it was horrible. And this guy, um, he was he was a hoe, for sure. He was a hoe. And but I didn't find that out until later on, of course. And so, we started hanging out, we, talking a lot. And he actually wasn't even live his living situation was weird. So, like, from what I can remember, he actually was living in Portland, but he would drive down to this place as well to be a part of everything going on, because he was a part of this whole party group. Um, and I think at some point he ended up moving in to their house and started living with them so that he didn't have to do the drive all the time. Something, I don't even know. Um, and then I started going to this place a lot more often. Like, I was going damn near, probably not every day, but like a few times a week, but definitely at least every weekend. And it was really, really bad. Like, I feel bad for my mom. Like, I just kind of like was doing my own thing, and I was never like telling her like, "Hey, I'm going here, I'm going here." And at that time I was also friends with someone I'm no longer friends with, who was pretty she wasn't the greatest influence. And my mom was getting uncomfortable with how much I was hanging out with her, what we were doing, and where we were going. And looking back on it now, like I feel like shit, like with the things I did and the way I acted and everything. Um, but I think it's like a canon event, honestly. Like, what can you do? You got to go through these phases of lives to find out that it's just not for you. And that's how my mom is. She's not gonna like tell me like you can't do this, you can't do that. She's never done that my entire life. My only rule from her has ever been just don't get arrested. That's it. My mom's pretty laid back and chill. She worries, like, but she's not going to input like her opinions until it gets to a point where like maybe she needs it. And that's kind of what she did. She just kind of let me, you know, do me, and she knew eventually I'd snap out of it and, realize like, oh, this is not the life that I want to be in, that I can't do this. And she was right. But yeah, I was friends with this one girl. She was a horrible influence. And we had a falling out a couple years ago. And um and I have a story that goes along with that too that I definitely want to talk about in a separate episode. Um because it's crazy. It is literally the reason, like, this story alone is the reason why I stopped being her friend. Um but anyways, we were going all the time. And so I started seeing this guy more and more. And then he was having, like every man on this planet, all of them have commitment issues. All of them, every single one. And um he could never like, he'd be like going back and forth texting like my friend, because she was like trying to give him advice, and he's just like, well, I don't know, like, what if that, and I don't really, like, grow up. And so it took like a very long time for him to actually like ask me to be his girlfriend, right? And it started getting toxic pretty fast. And I quickly learned that I definitely was not the only women he was talking to. Um, and that alone is also a canon of, well, no, honestly, I can't say that. Every single girl has either gone through that, is currently going through that, and we shouldn't have to. Like, that should not be normalized. Um, but I didn't know any better back then. Um, and I kept finding out over time that, oh, he's also saying the exact same things he's saying to me to all these other women. Like, oh, this girl, this girl, this girl. Oh, there's so many of them. And what's actually so crazy to me, the one thing I can like remember to a T is like the first time we had like stayed the night together. Mind you, we slept on a trampoline outside of this house. And I remember him asking me, like, what's your body count? Which is the stupidest. You should never, ever ask that when you're getting to know someone. I'm sorry. It is not something you need to know. It's not important. It doesn't define who that person is, and it doesn't like define what your relationship's going to be with them. I could go on a whole rant about this. I find it so fucking stupid. It's like so inappropriate to ask, because why do you care? Why does it matter? People obviously are going like, do you think that they're never going to sleep with anybody their whole life? Like, that's not how it works. You're going to meet people, whether you date or not, you're going to sleep with them. That's just how life goes. Like, you, let me not get into that. But my straw stuck in my shirt. That's amazing. But anyways, so he asked me like, what's your body count? And I give him my truthful, honest answer, which, I mean, I'm not a very sexual person, so I'm not obviously going to say it because it doesn't matter. It really does not matter. And I tell him, and he's like, "Oh, wow." Like it's a lot. Like no, what the and then I'm like, what's yours?" And he's like, I think like 200. Oh, okay. But didn't you just like make the way that you reacted when I said mine, which is like 50 times lower than yours, probably way more than that? Like, what do you mean? And then like he's like texting my best friend like I can't be with a girl that like has that kind of body count, but still making it seem like it's like a crazy amount. Meanwhile, this man has 200 bodies. 200 bodies. So it's okay for him to do it, but it's not okay for like what? It seems to be still a common trend these days with men. You'll have such a low body count and you tell them that. And then they have like fucking 200, 300, whatever it is, 5 times more than you. And they don't, they're not disgusted with themselves, and it's fully okay for, them to have that high of a body count. But if you have over one, gross, you're a slut. You're disgusting. Like, I can't be with someone like you. That's just disgusting. What the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? Like, it's gone to the point now that, like, if I'm getting to know a man and they like ask me what's your body count, I'm immediately shutting it down because what the fuck do you mean? What do you mean? I already knows yours is gonna be like 15 fucking hundred, and I'm the slut. That's crazy. Okay, um, and that was just a very memorable moment, I think, with this man. But yeah, no, it got pretty toxic really, really fast, and I remember like we he would create a lot of like not arguments, but like he like obviously was not a loyal man whatsoever. He was definitely leading me and like 10 other women on at the same time, telling us all the exact same thing. So he probably, now that I think about it, probably had like 20 girlfriends at the same time. Fun. Um, and I unfortunately was one of them. And I didn't realize until later. And um, I cannot tell you how many times this man cheated on me. But I do remember one time that like I like found out. I caught him in the act. And it was so fucking funny. Oh my god, it's so funny to think about. It was a party again, and we had me and my friends, we drove up, and he had disappeared. And I'm trying to call him, he's not answering. So my friend who was dating his friend, she had him call him, and um he picked up and was just being so sus, like not seeing where he was at and blah blah blah. But at that time there was like one specific girl, I can't even remember her name anymore, but there was this one specific girl. um Her name kept getting brought up all the time whenever we would talk about him. So we were all like, oh, he's probably with that girl, huh? And so I'm getting like furious. There was like a punching bag in the garage that we were chilling in. And we just start fucking around with this punching bag, and I'm like punching it and whatever. And um we had the bright idea of going around the parking lot and finding this girl's car, thinking he's gonna be in it. And so we're walking around each and every vehicle in that parking lot with our flashlight on, flashing it through all the windows. Um, and the very, very, very last car, surely enough, surely enough, um, He was in the back seat pretending to be asleep. Meanwhile, the girl's like, here, actually, let me do a good impression. I just spilled a little bit of matcha on my bed. That's great. I'm gonna put this away. I haven't even been drinking it. I don't know why I'm holding it. And I just spilt it all over. Let me fix this real fast. I have some paper towels. Okay. There we go. All fixed. Okay. So she's like trying to like hide herself because I was recording. I took a recording. I think I still have this video. I don't know. It was years ago. And he's he's in the backseat with her. Kneeled down pretending to be asleep. And that's exactly what his excuse was too. Like, oh, I fell asleep. Baby fell asleep in the back seat of another bitch's car with her there, laughing. Do you do you think I'm do you think I'm stupid? Like actually? Crazy. Um and I recorded it and it was so fun. So fun. And of course after that, he's like trying to get me back and every this happened like many, many times. And with multiple different women. And a lot of people would be like, "Well, why did you keep going back?" I hate this question because it's like obviously I should have known better, okay? But when you're in a situation and you like genuinely really like the person, you kind of start to like n- excuse things in a way. Um and maybe you do, maybe you don't see things that people are telling you, but also manipulation is a thing, okay? Um I've gotten this a lot, especially with my last relationship. Like, why did you keep going back to him? Why did you give him a second chance? Okay, when you're being manipulated and you really, really like the person, it's not easy getting out of that situation, even if you know you're being manipulated in the moment. And that's how it was with me. Like, I know I grew up in a very narcissistic, abusive environment my entire childhood. So I can sense these, I see them from like the very first time I'll talk to someone. But it's just it gets complicated. And back then I genuinely just I did not know better. Like I was young, I was stupid, I was drinking, I was partying. That's all I was. And um yeah, that had happened a few times. But then we would always get back together and, stay the night together and I love you, and ew. But then there would be a few times where we would get in fights, and not like it's weird to say fights because like we didn't like scream at each other or anything. It was just kind of like all over text. And I remember one night I just didn't want to like be around him at all, like at all. So me and my other girlfriends, we were hanging out in one of the other guys' bedrooms. I know that sounds sus as hell, but it's not. He was a goofy guy. He had a girlfriend who was also there. And we were all just like super close friends, and he's just a funny guy and a good friend. And so we're all just kind of chilling in his room, and I just wanted to be like locked away from, you know, the man. And he started getting like super jealous and pissed off that, I'm spending all this time in some other guy's room, even though it's me and like 10 other women all just hanging out. And he started like threatening me and like, a relationship and all that, which not my first rodeo. And literally would not stop calling me until I would meet him somewhere. And mind you, this is happening at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Everyone else is asleep at this point. It had been going on for hours. And eventually I'm just like, I'm getting so annoyed at this point. I like finally caved in. I'm like, fine, okay, we can talk. So we meet in the bathroom and we're both sitting on the bathroom floor, just like whatever. And I'm just kind of like, I'm tired. I want to be asleep right now, just kind of out of it, you know? And he's just going off and off and off, basically calling me like a whore and, everything you can imagine, trying to degrade me for his mistakes, mind you. I've never, ever, ever cheated in my life. Ever. Not once. I'm probably one of the most loyal people, friendship and relationship wise, you could ever meet. And I have proven that over and over and over again to multiple people. And, I think it's a blessing and a curse because I definitely think that gets taken advantage of a lot. Um, and it sucks because I could never. No matter how hard it gets between you and someone, I would never get to the point in my head where I'm like, I'm gonna cheat. Like, you have to genuinely be so fucked up in the head to think that that's some sweet escape from whatever problem you may be having. Never once have I thought, I'm gonna go fuck someone else, or I'm gonna start talking to someone else while actively being in a relationship because I'm just not man enough to communicate. And, you know, God, I hate men. I really do. And it still baffles me that like certain men will like get mad or annoyed at women for saying that they hate men and like babe, you're the prime example. Like, obviously, if you're getting mad at them, you're part of the problem. If that's something that pisses you off, like, oh, I hate when women say I hate men or all men or whatever, then clearly you're a part of that. You're a problem. If it offends you, then you are the problem. I'm sorry, it's the harsh truth, but it's true. And that's something my last ex did so many times. And it's like, when I say I hate men, I've never once said, well, maybe I actually have said all men, but I hate men. I'm a very big man hater, and for obvious reasons. But it's because every man that I've ever experienced has been absolutely horrible to me. So, how are you gonna get mad at me for saying I hate men or all men when I keep getting proven right? Like, how are you gonna get mad at me? Because I've been treated so poorly by every single man in my life, and I'm not just talking about relationships. I'm talking about my father and other situations like that I'll get into later. Like, it doesn't have to just be relationships. It's every man that I've ever had in my life, whether it's family or whatever. I've only ever been treated poorly by. So, yeah, I'm not the biggest man supporter or man liker. Um there's other reasons besides relationships why I hate men, okay? And a very big reason for that is because of the trauma that I have been put through my entire childhood. Like, I can't help that. I'm sorry. It's always been men, not women. And so it's just it gets infuriating because it's like they're proving your point when you say that. But back to the story. Sorry, I keep getting sidetracked. Um And yeah, so this entire time we're in the bathroom, he's just like yelling at me, making me like feel so, trying to make me feel so small and like someone I'm not, and calling me all these names. And it was so toxic. And I don't even know why I put up with that as long as I did. But like I said, I was very young. I didn't know any better. Um, and I guess I wasn't the only one. So it's wonderful. Um, And then the way that this all ended is actually so funny. I mean, it's not. It's actually pretty serious, but it's kind of funny to think about. He met this one girl, a minor. I'm gonna put that out there. A minor. I don't know if she's still a minor or not. Probably not now. It's been like 2 or 3 years, I think. Um, but I think he was 19. He was 19 or 20. I think he was 20. Or was he 21? No, I think he was 20. He started dating a 16 or 17-year-old after all of this went down. And I'm pretty sure they've been with each other ever since. I don't know. I've had him locked on everything ever since then. Same with the girl because she was actually pretty mean to me, which is ironic. Um, and another thing I remember too is like there's this one time that came I drove up there, or no, I came with a friend because we were going to a party probably. And the person I came with, she had went back to our hometown that same night, but the man wanted me to stay, of course, so I stayed, and he was like, "Oh, I'll drive you back tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, I mean, if you're gonna drive me back, then I won't worry about heading home with her tonight, you know?" Um, and so the next day comes, he's driving me back home, and it's like an hour and a half drive, and not even like 10 minutes into the drive, we get pulled over. And the cop comes up and, he starts talking about, "Oh, does your parole officer know?" And I'm like, "Parole officer? What? What? Sorry, you left out this information?" Okay. And it turns out he had like done something a while ago, when he was in like high school. Something to do with drinking and whatever. I guess he had a drinking problem, which obviously that was very clear. Um, and did some pretty bad shit. Something to do with the school, and I don't even know. Um, I don't want you. And um, so that was very interesting to find out right in that moment, especially. And um, he never really talked about it after that. It was just kind of like surprise, surprise, shawty. Like, oh, cool. I don't think his parole officer would have enjoyed knowing that he started dating a minor, but I'm not that type of person. I should have. I should. A lot of times I like reminisce on my past relationships and like, wow, like I really wish I was so much meaner. Like I should have put them in their place, like for real. I think about that a lot with a lot of past relationships. And like I said, I've only been in four, so all four of them I should have been so much fucking meaner and really, really done something about it. And I kind of did with the last one, but we'll get into that. But yeah, that's kind of how that all ended. And yeah, I'm pretty sure they've been together ever since. I actually have no idea. Again, this was all like 2, 3 years ago, and I haven't gone to that place ever since. Been involved with any of those people ever since. I'm still good friends with some of the girls that I met through this place and the whole party aspect of everything. But we just don't really see each other or talk as much, but we're still good friends. Some I'm no longer friends with, of course, and some I just haven't spoken to ever since. So, I'm really glad that era ended because it was just not a good place for me, I think. And I'm so sorry if the camera is like shaking all the time. My cat keeps pissing me off. Um she's in her needy mood right now. She just needs to be everywhere, and every time she jumps up on the bed, it like shakes the ring light. So that's fun. Um anyways, so that's like pretty much the entirety of that relationship, which was my first relationship officially. Um, and I wish I like remembered more, but it was so long ago, and like I said, like I have decent memory, but some things that were like traumatic, obviously trauma can block out some things, and I think that's what's happening here cuz I'm trying to remember like other things, and I'm sure if I really like took a day to like think on it and remember and like write things down, I could remember everything, but it was so long ago. I haven't cared about it since, and I don't ever think about it. So it's kind of hard to remember every single thing, but those were just kind of some of the like main plots of that relationship. And I'm gonna go into my second relationship because this one is also short. So I can kind of fit the two in one. So this my second relationship was 2023, I think. And we had met on Tinder, which is already embarrassing. But we met on Tinder. Um and he lived um 4.5 hours away. So again, kind of like a long distance thing, which I am genuinely more of a long distance person. Kind of like I prefer it in a way because it's like I don't want to see you every day. And the town that I live in, it's so boring. There's nothing to do. It's it it's like a trap. Like I feel trapped here. And so it's always exciting like dating or getting to know someone who lives in a totally different area than you. And I think that's why I've always preferred um long distance, because like I get to drive to this place that I've never been to before, or like I love going to, and there's so much to do, and you there's a reason to get excited because you're not seeing each other every day, and so you always get to be excited every time you meet up with them because you miss them. And then when you do meet up, it's like, oh my God. And, instead of seeing each other every day and then you get tired of each other or annoyed or whatever. Anyways, um, so he was about 4.5 hours away. Um, the first time we had ever hung out, I drove to him. It was the scariest drive ever because I did it at night too. And it took me on some fuck ass scary back road for like 70% of the drive there, and it was scary. I was on the phone with my mom the whole time. um and I had gotten a hotel and everything cuz he was living with his family, and obviously not every family is comfortable with some random girl staying in their house. So I got a hotel and I was only there for 2 or 3 days, I think. Um and from the very first night, like, in my eyes, he was perfect. He was everything I ever wanted. Like, he was very cute and, was doing everything correctly. And a lot of these things are quite literally the bare minimum. But, like showing me off in public and holding every single door like open, and wouldn't refuse to let me open my own door like in his car and stuff. Um and just being like he was such a gentleman, and he was super nice, he was super funny, and we like hit it off super duper duper fast. And it was just and he would do this thing where he would just like look into my eyes like whenever we would like be cuddling or like about to go to sleep or whatever. He just did this like look in my eyes, and we just like look at each other like we were looking at each other's souls like through our eyes, and it would just only be the eyes. And they had like, not to sound like romantic or whatever, but it his eyes genuinely had like this sparkle to him. And it was like, I don't even know, like I really really liked this man. Um, and I do like obviously he was hella love bombing me, like with everything he was saying, everything he was doing, and I know that because on like the second week, this man wanted to get matching tattoos, and it's so I mean, it happened. We got the matching tattoo, and I don't know if you'll be able to see from here, but it's this like flame thing. And the only reason it ended up being that is because he was the one actually that was like, "Oh, we should get each other's names," and I was like, "That's crazy." Um, thank God I knew better because that is just so weird. Like, even if I didn't know any better, I still know that like getting someone's name tatted on you, no matter how close you are, the relationship or whatever, that's just fucking weird. Like, no, you will never, ever, 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 ever see me getting anybody's name tatted on me. Are you kidding? That's stupid. But that's what he wanted to do, and I was like, maybe we should just get like cute little flames or something, and like twin flames, right? And that's what happened. That's what that is. Um, he paid for it, thank God. So it was basically a free tattoo. Um, and it was cute. It was very cute, and he showed me around his where he grew up in this area that was 4.5 hours away, and then he came and visited me here. I showed him where I technically grew up, since I've only been here since moving from the UK. Um, and it was nice, and I never met his friends, but he met all my friends, and he like hit it. That's like a huge thing for me when it comes to dating. Like, if you can't get along with my friends or like put yourself out there and like become part of the friend group, no. Like, I'm sorry, but no. But he literally, like, first ever time meeting my friends, oh, he hit it off immediately. And they became besties. And it was just, it's so nice to see. Like, oh my God, like, you're part of my friend group now. My friends love you. You love my friends. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's so nice. I love it. And shortly after that, I don't even, well, we made like a Boise trip together. Um, and that's when we got the tattoos. And then he took me shopping, and we spent the whole day in Boise together, and it was so fun. And like everything I ever did with him was so genuine and so fun, and like I loved every moment of it. Like, he made me feel so like special. And that was when I was my most confident, cuz like he just made me feel so beautiful, and like he was always complimenting me, always showing me off. And I loved everything about him. And obviously I caught really really big feelings for him, as did he too. um but then I don't know what happened. um and then while he was here, by the way, when he came to visit me, that's when he asked me to be his girlfriend. It wasn't really anything special. He kind of just like asked, like, will you be my girlfriend? I was like, yeah. um and shortly after that, he goes back home, and he just started getting really distant. And whenever they start getting distant, something obviously happened. I've been there once or twice or three times or 700 times. It's a horrible feeling. And I knew something was brewing, something not good. And that's exactly what happened. He just kind of like got very distant with me, started low key ghosting me. And I'm a very communication type of girl. Like, I'm very big on communication. I know how to communicate, and I will do it all the time, whether you like it or not. I am a grown up. I will communicate with you. And I'm asking him like, what's wrong? Like, what's going on? Talk to me. And he was basically saying that, like, I really, really love you and blah blah blah, and like, I just can't be with you. Like, for why? Literally for why? And then, like, in a sense, like, if he would have just been like the distance, like, I obviously would understand that. Like, 4.5 hours is kind of hard, especially when you're both working full time. Like, obviously that's hard, but it's just the fact that, like, you chose to, like, completely do a 360 on me and just, like, start ghosting me. And, all I've ever wanted is for a man to be fucking honest, right? Like, I once, went on a date with this guy in Kennewick. He was 27, so way older than me. Well, not way older, but older than I've ever, you know, pursued. And I drove to him because he wanted to take me on a date at this super fancy restaurant, and it was indeed super fancy. And we go on this date, and I like really liked his vibe. He had really nice tattoos. We had the same angel numbers. He was very mature, very grown, and very respectful. And he pays for our dinner and everything. And at this time too, it's so funny. This was like during summer, and all around Washington and Oregon, there's always some wildfire or two that like is really bad. And when I went, there was a wildfire happening, and I guess it had crossed the freeway, so they closed the freeway, and I wasn't able to go home that night because the plan was to drive to him, go on this date, spend a little time with him, and then drive back home. No. Um, I had to stay the night with him at his house with his family because he too lived with his family. Um, and at 27, that's a little bit like, but like I kind of get it. I don't know. The economy's wild, but that was not intentional, and it was very awkward because it's like nobody wants to like. Well, unless your intentions is to literally hook up and fuck, then obviously you plan on staying the night with them. But that wasn't either of our intentions, so it was just super awkward. But and that was the only time that we ever saw each other was that date. And then he texted me this paragraph like a couple weeks later, and he sent me a paragraph saying like, "Hey, like I know I've been kind of quiet these past couple days and I'm not trying to ghost you or anything, but I just want to be honest with you, like I am still in love with my ex. I still have feelings for her. So I kind of want to figure that out and focus on that. But it was really nice meeting you, and I loved everything about the date, and you're super cool, and blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I just wanted to be straight up with you." Bro, that's what I'm saying. I was so, like, I wasn't even mad. I wasn't even hurt. I was like, you know what? Thank you so much for just being a honest person. Like, that's all I've ever wanted. Just be straight up with me, be honest, don't fucking lie to me. And the fact that he said all that to me after our date, a couple weeks later, it's like, okay, no problem. Go get her. Go get your girl. Like, shit. You're amazing for that. Like, literally, like, but then there's the men that just cannot for the life of them be honest. Like, do you realize how much easier life would be if you just wouldn't lie? Like, for real. Especially relationship wise, too. If you were just honest, just be straight up, don't you think you could have avoided so many things? Am I the only person that thinks about that? Like, just be honest. Like, girls prefer, like, girls would respect you more and like you more if you just were honest and didn't lie. But I guess it's a personal choice. Ugh, God. But yeah, so he just kind of abruptly ended things with me. And I was quite heartbroken over it because I had developed such strong feelings for him. And he was the nicest, most sweetest, genuine soul I had ever met. For it to just end so abruptly like that, like out of nowhere, was shocking. And I was heartbroken for a while after that. Um, but I later found out that it was honestly only because he was talking to another woman. Yet again, here we are again. And want to know how I found that out? Venmo. He had blocked me on everything except Venmo, and I saw his Venmo transaction to this girl. And so I went through her Venmo transactions, and I saw that her friends had Venmoed her and titled it Bleep. Entitled it uh what do we call him? Scott. That's not his real name, but that's what we're gonna call him. I eventually had gone into her transactions, saw that her friends sent her, you know, Venmo, and would be like his name, girlfriend, or I don't remember exactly, but that's how I found out. Mind you, this was like a day or two after he had ended everything with me and never talked to me ever again to this day. So that's amazing. Yeah, it's so weird to think about that that's like the route that a lot of men prefer to take is to just completely end everything randomly and abruptly and never speak to you again, block you on everything, and immediately date someone else. Like, what? It makes no sense to me. Like, how? How can you do that? How can you do that to someone? Because now I'm like, was that ever real? Like, did I just develop these feelings for nothing? Like, what was that? Because I genuinely like I liked him so much. Like, he was so sweet and so genuine and so everything about him was perfect. And then that happens and it's like, "Oh, okay, weird." But yeah. Um and these two first relationships is kind of like the introduction into um talking about my relationships, because these next two, the last two, are going to be very, very, very long and very intense and very traumatic. And I'm still actually healing, well, trying to heal from my most recent relationship, so that will probably be very hard for me to talk about, but and there's a lot to it, so it may or may not have some parts. And there may be a part 1, part 2, part 3. But it's definitely information that you would want to know and you could probably relate to. Um, and I don't know. I don't know what the vibe's gonna be, but I'm excited to get into those, and I've been dying to get into those, but it's just kind of like finding the right time and the right moment. And then I want to be able to remember every single thing, which means I'm gonna have to write a lot of things down, and probably kind of like have like a notepad on me so I don't forget anything, or not include everything. Um, but these last two relationships I'm gonna talk about next week and probably over the next couple episodes. They have are probably the two relationships that have altered my brain chemistry completely. And like, I'm still very traumatized by both of these relationships and have affected me the most. So it's probably going to be a little hard, but I'm wanting to do it for my own sake, and obviously for the sake of the podcast, the whole point of it. Um, and so I kind of just need to get over it and just talk about it so that I feel better. And I can just talking about it will give me that closure, and knowing that I was able to talk about it and not have to keep it in, because I mean, especially with my relationship before my most recent one, nobody knows about that. I think there's only one or two people, not including my mom, of course, and my sister, um, that know about that one. And that, I mean, they were both equally as bad, but like that one was pretty bad, and nobody knows about it. So it would be interesting. But yeah, that is what the next few episodes are going to look like. I'm gonna, finally start getting into those specific relationships. And I know the ones I talked about today was kind of like a two in one because they weren't really anything special, to be honest. And they were so long ago, so, you know, and didn't last very long. So, yeah, I'm just easing my way into it, and definitely expect a lot these next few episodes when I get into those two relationships, because they are pretty bad. Um, but yeah, I feel like I have been yapping for a minute now, like a lot, a long, long time. And yeah, as per usual, if you have made it this far, thank you again so much for sticking around and listening to me yap, and just tuning in, honestly, if anyone even is listening to this podcast besides my friends. Love you guys. Um and yeah, uh new episodes every Tuesday, of course. Oh my god, wait, actually forgot to mention something so funny. Okay, so I've made it to posting every Tuesday, right? Except last episode was late, because it was my first time doing a video episode. I didn't really know, how that works. And so I'm like trying to post it through the app, like the Spotify for Creators app, and it's not letting me. And so I'm like looking up, like, what do I do? What do I do? And everything's telling me like I need to shorten the video because it's like a huge file or whatever. And I'm trying to figure that out, and it took so long. It took until the next day. And I'm like, fuck, it's so late. Like, it's not Tuesday anymore. It is now Wednesday, and I still haven't gotten this episode posted. I don't know what else to do. I've cropped it, I've shortened it, I like everything you can imagine, and it still wasn't letting me. Yeah, well, I then realized that you can't post video episodes through the actual app. You have to do it online through the website. You know how easy it was just to upload that video immediately without doing anything to the video editing wise through the website? And I had no idea. The whole time I was stressing and doing all this extra shit for nothing, being a day late posting it, when this whole time I could have just gone on the website and published it through the website. Yeah, well, now I know. But anyways, that's why it was late last week. So sorry, but now I know what to do. And as I've said in my previous episodes, again, I still haven't figured out how to do the whole theme song thing, the intro sound slash song and the outro. No idea. Honestly, I kind of gave up on it, but I'll try and look into it again, because obviously I want this to be as normal as a normal podcast can be. So, yeah, I don't think that made sense at all, but whatever. Anyways, I love you divas so very much. Thank you so much for listening. We will be continuing where we left off next Tuesday and getting into the more juicier and traumatizing relationships, very recent ones as well. So, um, definitely tune into that. And yes, thank you again. And this is Closure with Jazzy. Bye.